S.U.C.C.E.S.S. Think like a millionaire. Act like a system. Introduction. Why you need a success operating system. Let me start not with grand statements, but with an honest question. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right and yet you're still stuck? Like you're moving, but in circles? You read books, attend seminars, collect advice, push yourself to stay motivated, but deep down, something isn't clicking. Success seems to come to others, and you're not even jealous. You're just confused. What's missing? Let me tell you straight. You're not lacking knowledge. You're not lacking willpower or talent. You're missing a system. What do I mean by that? Think about your smartphone. We all have our favorite brands and apps. But whether it's Apple or Android, what really powers the phone is the operating system, not the apps, the system beneath them. It manages memory, energy, speed, performance. It's what makes the whole thing work, or not. Now, guess who the most successful people in the world are? Not those with the most skills. Not those who had the best start. But those who run on a completely different success OS, an inner system for thinking and living. Why do you need it? Because the world has changed. And now, motivation doesn't work. It's like coffee. It energizes, but only for a while. Discipline wears out. If your life is built on willpower alone, it will eventually crack. Knowledge is scattered. You've read the books, heard the quotes, collected the ideas, but there's no unified logic to apply them. Meanwhile, successful people don't collect random files. They operate from a system. Their minds run on a finely tuned OS. Thinking acts as a GPS. Habits function like automated scripts. Actions become scalable. Money is managed deliberately. Growth doesn't stop. Connections become force multipliers. Influence leaves a legacy. What will you find in this book? I haven't collected secondhand advice. I didn't copy from Google or the latest business guru. For 21 years, I've been observing, testing, and refining ideas until they formed a complete system. Not a perfect one, but one that works and delivers results. I've come to one core conclusion. Success isn't a mystery. It's a pattern that can be recreated. But to do that, you need an operating system built not for short sprints, but for life. This book isn't about reaching one goal. It's about building a way of life where success becomes the natural byproduct, not a forced outcome. What makes this system different? No fluff, no hype, just 7 core systems, 21 chapters, and one result. You start thinking, acting, and living like a successful person. Not more motivation, not more rules or hacks, just a structure that fits into your life. What happens when you install it? Chaos disappears. You gain a clear answer to the question, what's next? And more importantly, how exactly do I do it? This book will help you. Connect scattered knowledge into one cohesive framework. Replace habits that drain you with habits that empower you. Build an internal code of wealth, influence, and stability. And the most important question, why now? Because it's time to stop relying on intuition. It's time to stop winging it. It's time to work with a system. This book is your installation of the success operating system. Not just new software, a new inner mechanism designed to run for life. Why most motivational books don't work. You're clearly searching for something. The very fact that you're holding this book proves it. Maybe you've read dozens or even hundreds of pages of motivational content. Honestly, so have I. And here's the bitter but honest truth I've come to. Most motivational books don't work. Not because they're bad, not because they say something wrong, but because they're incomplete. They inspire, but they don't organize. They ignite emotion, but don't offer a roadmap. They push you into action, but don't teach you how to think and build. I know this path well, not in theory, but from walking it myself. And I've supported many others along the way, people like you and me who want more from life, more freedom, more confidence, more money, more of their true self. And nearly every one of them has said, I've heard all this before, but for some reason I still couldn't move forward. Motivation without a system is like fuel without a car. Most motivational books are like a shot of espresso, hot, strong, uplifting, but short-lived. They give you a push, but not a plan. Inspiration, but not implementation. A reminder of who you could become, but no actual route to get there. You're left with yet another nice idea that never gets integrated into your life. And that's what creates the most painful feeling of all. That sense of I know what to do, but I'm still not doing it. Why does this happen? because motivational content speaks to your emotions, but success is built on systems. Your mind doesn't just need to want more, it needs to work differently. It needs to think in structures, recognize patterns, create repeatable results, not just feel charged up, but become calibrated. Motivation is like a strong wind. It can move you, but if you have no direction, no map, no sails, that wind will spin you in circles, again and again. That's why I didn't write another motivational book. I wrote something entirely different. I created the Success Operating System. This isn't a list of tips. It's not the confessions of another millionaire with a story. It's a thinking framework, one that already runs inside hundreds of top performers who have fully unlocked their potential. And here's what I discovered. They all have different stories. They all had different starting points, but they think in similar patterns. I've gathered those patterns, turned them into clear models, tested them, simplified them, and now I'm handing them to you. Because you don't need another boost of inspiration. You need a system, one that works even when you don't feel like working. That's why this book exists. Not to tell you, believe in yourself, but to show you how people who've already built wealth, influence, and freedom actually think. To help you install a new system, not just in your mind, but in your actions, habits, decisions, and environment. This isn't a story about a single success. This is a blueprint for long-term growth that doesn't break down. And now, let's be honest. If you're tired of pretty quotes and ready for real answers, you're in the right place. If you want more than a temporary high, if you're ready to change the way you think, you're on the right page. This book doesn't promise an overnight breakthrough. It gives you the foundation to make your breakthrough inevitable. The secret behind consistent success in the world's top performers. When I first sat across from a millionaire, I expected to see something different, a different look, different energy, maybe even that special glow in the eyes. But he looked ordinary. He spoke simply, listened attentively, answered briefly. And that's when I realized something essential. There's nothing magical on the outside. The magic is on the inside. The people who can create results over and over again, no matter the crisis, chaos, or circumstance, they have something different. They think differently. More precisely, their mind operates as a system. What separates someone who succeeds once from someone who succeeds again and again? I've asked that question for years. Even when I started achieving consistent success myself, the question never left, because I kept seeing it. People who had a shining moment, then vanished within a year. And others, quiet, calm, with no spotlight, growing steadily, year after year, again and again. No drama, no collapse, no ego. They weren't more brilliant, they weren't just lucky. They thought systematically. They had an internal logic, a personal operating system that didn't depend on inspiration, luck, or emotion. They thought like programmers, lived like architects, built like engineers, not because they had technical degrees, but because their mind ran on a system. The secret to repeatable success isn't talent, it's thinking code. If you take a close look at the world's most successful entrepreneurs, investors, and leaders, you won't find a chaotic mess of personality traits. You'll find repeatable patterns. They see order where others see chaos. They make decisions without drama. They clearly know what drives results and what's just noise. They use time and people as leverage, not just as resources. They don't think in terms of today. They think in structures that last 10+ years. When I started working with them personally, listening, observing, asking why this way, I began to spot the patterns. I gathered them, digitized them, turned them into models, frameworks, maps. Eventually, I built a complete success operating system, one that works for anyone ready to live as a creator, not just a consumer. Repeatable success isn't a lucky strike. It's a built-in process. I've seen countless talented people achieve a one-time breakthrough and then stall. Then comes the pain, then the doubt, then fear, procrastination, a burst of effort, and back to the start. Why? Because their success wasn't built on a system. They lacked an internal operating system that could generate that success again and again. Success is not a mountaintop. It's a process, a code, a state, not something you chase, but something you build. And that's why this book was born. I didn't want to just inspire people anymore. People don't need more inspiration. They need a structure they can lean on every single day. something that works when you're excited and when you're exhausted, a system that lives in your mind, habits, decisions, environment, a system that doesn't ask, how do you feel today? It just works. This book is your freshly installed S.U.C.C.E.S.S, 7 levels, 21 elements, 1 result, consistent success without chaos. Is it complicated? Not at all. In fact, I've made everything simple, practical, and clear. Every chapter, 1 core principle. Every block, 1 actionable tool. Every exercise, not someday theory, but something you can use right now. Because the simpler a system is, the more reliable it becomes. Success is not a decoration, it's a foundation, and now is the time to install it in your life, for good. What is the S.U.C.C.E.S.S operating system, and how do you use it? Let me tell you something unexpected. Success isn't a coincidence. It's not luck. Success is a configured system, and it either works for you, or you go through life without it, hoping for a break. For years, I searched for the answer to one question. Why do some people achieve results again and again, while others only hit it occasionally, if ever? And here's what I found. Successful people, often without realizing it, live by an internal operating system, a mental framework that governs how they think, decide, act, build habits, manage money, and even shape the legacy they'll leave behind. And guess what? That system is what you're holding in your hands. Yes, this book. So what is the S.U.C.C.E.S.S operating system? It's not a list of hacks. It's not another 10 millionaire habits checklist. It's not some feel-good motivation you'll forget after the final page. The S.U.C.C.E.S.S is an internal algorithm, the invisible code that runs in the minds of the world's most effective people. Yes, algorithm, because their success isn't based on emotion. It's built on structure. For over 20 years, I've studied this structure, observing leaders, founders, investors, and high-level decision-makers as they launched businesses, led teams, and made hard calls. And little by little, I started seeing how their minds worked, not for one-time wins, but for repeatable breakthroughs. And you know what? Their secret wasn't motivation. It was an installed system, one that functions regardless of mood, chaos, geography, economy, or timing. How does this system work? Imagine your life as a multi-level, high-stakes game. Some people play it with chaos in their heads, reacting randomly, driven by impulses. Others have an internal GPS. It tells them where to go, when to slow down, when to push forward, who to involve, what to delegate. That GPS doesn't come built in, but it can be installed. And that's exactly what this book is here to do. We're going to install a new S.U.C.C.E.S.S into your reality. The structure of this book equals the structure of your new system. We'll work through 7 core modules, all brought together into one complete model. If each letter represents a domain of thinking you'll upgrade. S, system thinking. U, unshakable beliefs. C, compounded actions. C, cash flow mastery. E, effective habits. S, sustainable growth. S, social capital. Each section contains 3 deep dive chapters. Each chapter is a standalone tool. Each tool becomes part of your personal operating system. How to use this book. This is not a novel, not a confession, not a lecture. This is a manual for personal reprogramming. Use it like a system. Read 1 chapter a day, or slower if you want to go deeper. Take notes, draw connections, highlight what hits. Do the practices. Every chapter includes 1 concrete action, not just a good idea, but something to execute. Come back to it. This isn't a one-and-done book. This is your reference guide for becoming a new version of you. And most importantly, don't rush. This system isn't about fireworks. It's about quiet integration. The moment when you look in the mirror and say, this is just how I live now. What happens if you make it to the end? You'll think more holistically. You'll act with new patterns. You'll make decisions from a different system. You'll focus on what actually works. You'll develop habits that don't rely on motivation. You'll build a stronger environment, and you'll gain something priceless, a deep, calm confidence. I've got this, because my S.U.C.C.E.S.S is running.